What is up everyone, welcome to the video. I'm just about to down some protein oat. One of the first things I missed when I was over in Canada for so long was New Zealand's dairy products. Our tubs of yogurt that we have here, ice cream as well, as also just so much better than anywhere else I've ever been. You might think of Ben & Jerry's as a good quality ice cream. You wait till you come to New Zealand and try the Kapiti ice cream. It's actually amazing. I want to give a big shout out to Whey Cartel. As you can see, the unpackaging of the product is actually amazing. I remember the first package I got, I was actually just blown away by the amount of effort they've gone through to pack the protein powder. And I wanted to get that last one of me unpacking a new one on camera, and I did it all and I didn't have my camera on, so I was super gutted about that. I hope you guys got the idea. Amazing. I just add that, it's unflavoured whey protein to my oats. Obviously just add a bit more protein in there with the competition coming up. Then to bring my body weight down slightly. Got a couple of kilos to drop, but that's not too hard for me at all. Guys, I've got to ask you a question. What are these shoes? What are they? Nike. Damn, they look good though. Look at that. Yeah, they are the best shoe to squat and deadlift in, that's for sure. Love them. Black and white, obviously. Same with the black and white one, pretty much. More progress on the bench. Was able to do some deadlifts in the end, so I was really happy about that. But stay tuned, I want to show you guys one of the requirements for when you lift in the IPF, and that is the WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Association, and the IPF. So what I have to do for them, I want to show you guys and take you through that, just so you can actually see what it's like, our whereabouts and the requirements from us as drug tested athletes. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to do is you need to check, and you guys can check this for yourself, so the lifters that are actually on this system in the IPF. Now there's a list of that on the IPF site, which we're going to go to right now. So you're just going to go to powerlifting-ipf.com. You'll be able to go through to anti-doping. And then under anti-doping you'll see that there's an international registered testing pool, and you can check back on previous years for this. Obviously for this one we're going to go to 2017. So this is going to bring up a sheet, everyone who is on this testing pool which you're about to see. It's listed in country order there. So as you can see, I'm the only person from New Zealand on that right now, just there. And you've got, you know, lifters from Russia, USA. You know, we've got John Hack here, we've got Dennis Cornelius, Kimberly Walford, you know, all the big names, Ray Williams. And then, you know, so there's 165 people on this list, so it's a solid list, and we all fall under the same testing regime. So if we go over to Adams, so this is a login that everyone is given, so all of those 165 names you've just seen, we're all given this, we're all given a login by our representative from the IPF. So she'll give us a login and a password, and what we're able to do is we'll have to go and actually fill our whereabouts in. So we'll click on that just there. So this is going to take us through to our diary essentially. So we've got all these months down the side here, January, February, March, and as you can see I've submitted everything here. So you've got home, gym and a work address. So what I'm doing here is, and I actually need to update this today, because basically now that I'm training Monday to Friday, again I need to just fill in that on Wednesdays I go to the gym. And you'll be able to see there, I'm not going to show you my addresses obviously for privacy reasons, but you know, I've filled in my work. So where I work from home, so the hours that I generally work from home, which is generally about 9 to 5. I'm at the gym from about 5 to about 7 or 7:30, so I'll log that in there. On the weekends I don't train at all, so there's nothing there. And I've got home, which is my overnight accommodation, as you can see just here. And in this time frame there, I need to actually put, so in all of these, or in one of these, I need to register 1 hour of the day, and that's got to be between 6 AM and 10 PM I believe. So one of those hours of the day I have to be in that location. So for me, I put my home, and it's got 7 o'clock there, so that's 7 AM, because I'm always home at 7 AM. And so that means that 7 AM from 8 AM is my required time to be at that location. So what would happen, let's say in an instance that, say tomorrow, say it's Tuesday or it's whatever, and I'm going to be out early, say I'm going to the gym early, or I'm going out for breakfast, or I'm out of town, I'll have to come into this, go to that certain date, and change that particular day to the whereabouts I will be, and I have to be in one location for 1 hour in those time frames. Now obviously that can be, you know, quite difficult. You know, we don't receive a lot back as far as, you know, someone's actually telling us we have to be in a certain location for 1 hour of the day. Now for some people that's really, really easy because they go to work, they sit in an office all day. Some people, you know, they're travelling around all the time, they're on the road, they're flying places, they just don't know where they're going to be in advance, so they constantly have to be going back onto here to update things, which I know can be really, really frustrating. So there are some good points to this and some really bad points to this. It really just depends on your lifestyle. But one thing I've noticed for me is that it doesn't actually really spring to mind to come and update this. So let's say for instance that you know, tomorrow I'm going to I'm going to see my parents, right, or I'm going to leave town, or I'm going on a holiday for a few days, and it's sort of just come about pretty quick. My first thought is not to go, oh, I need to go and actually update my whereabouts form, and you know, because I'm not going to be at home from 7 AM to 8 AM in case they want to come and test me. So it's never like a first thought to go and update this sort of thing, which can catch people out. Because basically my understanding of the rule is, so we've got this 1 hour time frame, right? It doesn't mean that they're only going to come in this time frame. They can come anytime they want, and they're just going to look at your locations and see where you are going to be. You don't have to be there, but they do advise, you know, just being honest as possible, you know, the general routine where you are going to be. So basically, if they were to show up at between 7 and 8 AM at my house and my address that I've given them, and I wasn't there, then that's one strike. If they come again, it's a second strike, and if they come for the third time, then I believe that that's classed as a failed test. So you know, so I've got to make sure that I keep these things up to date, and that goes for every athlete. Now this is the same system that every single athlete around the world uses, anywhere from high level Olympians, you know, back down through to us, you know, just unprofessional powerlifters. So yeah, it is a flawed system, and it does come with some, in my opinion, easy ways to get around it. So just for instance, I remember a few years ago, I was living actually just down the road here, one of my first apartments in Wellington, and I was living on the second story, and basically at the bottom there was a button you could push to dial yourself into the place, or basically what it would do was actually ring the doorbell, and the person at the top, it would basically switch on the camera. You'd be able to see who was at the door and either buzz them in or you wouldn't, obviously if you knew them or not. And I lived with a few flatmates at the time, and I remember I'd just gotten home from the gym, and I wasn't on this WADA system at that point anyway. This was completely different. So yeah, I was sitting there, they buzzed in, the camera went off, but I'd only just got home from the gym and one of my other mates looked at it, and I think I was in my room, well, he didn't realise I was home, and they buzzed, said, oh no, Brett's not here, you know, he's at the gym right now, you have to come back a bit later. I had no idea who it was, I had no missed calls, nothing. None of my friends had tried to contact me or come over. So the next day, Again, I think around the same time I was at the gym, someone showed up at home, and I got home, my mate said, "Oh man, someone came for you again." I said, "Oh, who was it?" No idea. They didn't identify themselves. And then the next night, I was home, so I wasn't at the gym, and someone came to my door. They buzzed on the thing. No, they didn't buzz on the thing. One of my flatmates was just getting home, and I was in the kitchen, and he opened the door, and just as he opened the door, he was like, "Oh, there's Brett right there," and it was these two people. They hadn't identified themselves to anyone. They just sort of said that they knew Brett. Walked up the stairs with my flatmate, and they saw me straight away. It didn't bother me really. Obviously caught me a bit off guard, but they came into my property. We did a drug test right then and there. I wasn't allowed to leave their sites from the moment that they actually saw me. But the thing is that they didn't identify themselves the first 2 nights. So if I was sitting there, or if I was even at home and I didn't know this person, and they weren't going to identify themselves, because basically my understanding was they didn't want to identify themselves because a few reasons. Because basically, if they had said that they were from the New Zealand Drug Testing Association, or they were sent there on behalf of the IPF to drug test me, then someone could easily say, "Oh, well, he's actually not home right now." Or I can even say that myself. They don't know my voice, they don't know what I sound like. I could easily just be like, "Oh, actually, no, he's not home. Not sure when he's going to be home." If they did identify themselves as drug testers. So, not that I've got anything to hide, but I'm just saying that there are some flaws to this system, and where people live gives people advantages or disadvantages. So yeah, I'll go through this. I keep it up to date as possible, and that's it really. I'm just going to make sure I stick to that. I'll have to go through here, and there's another quarter that I'll have to submit nice and early. So as you can see, if I go through to quarter 2, there's nothing here at all. So this is for April, May and June. So I'll have to go through April. I'm competing on the 29th, just here. So I'll have to make sure that all these travel dates from here onwards, for that week I'll be in Australia, that I make sure I update that for each day. And then coming through over here to June, there's going to be a lot of travel on here as well. So trying to pinpoint 1 hour where they can drug test you at a certain location is pretty tough to do. But in my opinion, the likelihood of that, it probably wouldn't happen, but because you're probably close to an event, they wouldn't have someone in the country that's really easily going to be able to just get to you right away. And the other thing too, actually, that I forgot to mention earlier was, going to update this. So let's say that we're back at quarter 1, right? So as you can see, should come up in a moment. Yep, as you can see here, I'm supposed to be home at 7 o'clock. That's my 60-minute time slot. I couldn't go in every day and just change that from being at home at 7 o'clock and then all of a sudden I'm 3 hours away and it's 7 o'clock, and do that consistently. There's been times I know in New Zealand with a weightlifter that I heard a story about, that he was doing that. So they were trying to come to him and say he was going to be at home at 7 o'clock, just like I've noted, that he'll go and change it at like 6:55 and say he's in another location. He'll make sure he's in that location for 1 hour, and basically they couldn't ping him for not being at that place because he's changed his location, and that hasn't given the people who are going to administer the drug test time to get to his new location. So I think he did that 3 or 4 times. They were trying to catch up with him, and eventually they actually just ended up banning this certain lifter. So there's not too many ways to get around that. You've got to be pretty consistent with where you are going to be, and you can't just make last minute changes for people trying to get around that. And I've also heard stories too about people who live in like certain places, like just for instance like an army base. I've heard people in Russia, there was a story going around, this Russian guy submitted his whereabouts, and he lived in an army base. So obviously they'll go up there, show up to drug test him. He probably trained out of the army base, or he was in the army, or he wasn't at all, who knows. But obviously they wouldn't let anyone like that into the premises. They've got no right to be there, so they'll just simply refuse them entry into their quarters, I guess. So he basically was never eligible to be drug tested outside of the time he competes, when he's right then and there and he can't sort of get away from it. So I thought that would be cool, just to give you guys a bit of an insight into what the 165 people in the IPF are subject to and making sure this is kept up to date. So not only can you fail drug tests for actually using drugs, but you can fail drug tests for actually avoiding it or not keeping this up to date, or just being non-compliant with some of the requirements around being an athlete on the whereabouts form. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Drug tested doesn't mean drug free, bro. Come on, Brett, just tell the truth. We all know you're on the juice. What are you talking about, man? Everyone at the top is on the juice.